Florida. It's a beautiful morning, and you can kind of see the sunrise back over there, over the parking lot. Had to stop and get a little R&R on my way. I'm going to be in Florida for a few weeks. Going to see lots of ocean and palm trees and all of that glory. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, I'm going to be quick because I got to get on the road. I got things to do, places to be. Chapter 42. And this is a really good one. Well, they're all good, right? Hey, it's God's word. And there is a concept at the end, the last section of 42, that we talk a lot about in the whole psychology world of therapy, counseling, psychoanalysts, habit. It's a huge one in the habit change world and in coaching, because this is where a lot of people get stuck. They don't know how to get out of this. You can see it, but you don't know how to get yourself out of it. We are complex human beings, but we're also very simple and basic. And it's these two systems that coexist in ourselves that have different self-interests and that seem like they're conflicting. And even Paul talks about it. Humans have been dealing with this from the time that we've come into existence, I would imagine. And then as we evolve, it probably gets even more and more complicated in some ways. But Paul talked about it why do I do the things I don't want to do? What is wrong with me? And nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with me. We have free will. We have choices. We have to live in a physical world and make choices that help us survive. We are pack people. We need to belong, and we need to belong to the group, whatever group we're in. And sometimes, but even on an individual basis, what can happen, and I don't love this term, but I understand why we use it. And I'm going to use it because people recognize it. And it's this concept of self-sabotage. Why do we do the things we don't want to do? And I know eating that much cake and sugar is not good for me, but I can't help myself. We get in a state of mind or presence, or maybe it's even in a group setting. We normally wouldn't eat things, and then we do it because everybody else is doing it. So sometimes it can happen because of peer pressure or the group that you're in. Sometimes it just happens with you and you alone. And you're like, why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? And there are a lot of things that we have sort of healthy, normal relationships with. And, we talked the other day about the daily dose, how love energizes. Well, lots of other things energize as well. There's a lot of things that can hijack that whole chemical cascade. And when we eat or drink anything, those things create chemicals. And when we do other things too, they can create some of these chemicals. And when we're not doing the thing that we want to do or that's the healthiest for us, and it creates some of these feel-good chemicals, little chain links start to happen. You start linking, or your body unconsciously, you're not even doing it, but your brain is going, oh, we were really pissed off or sad or whatever, and then we ate this chocolate cake or had the wine or we did this thing, and we maybe even did it to excess, and our brain felt better. She was happier. She calmed down. She was shift from this feeling this way to this way. And we started having the feel-good chemicals. We like that. So we should do more of that. It starts linking things in the background, your body. Remember, your intelligence system is more than just your brain. It is your nervous system. It is your gut. It is your heart. It's everything working together. And it's happening automatically, whether you're whether you want it to or not, you're training it. Even we have scientific evidence of that, even going back to Pavlov's dog, right? Like you can train people and animals to get a certain reaction just by setting up certain conditions and forcing their systems to link certain things together. And once they're linked, think about a chain link like that. That is hard to break. Even though intellectually you're like, this is not good for me, even as a society, because in the Bible they're talking about Israel. They got the whole society kind of got off track as a group. And maybe there's a few wise ones in there. It's like, hey people, let's wake up, let's do this. And they're like, well, but we've done it this way for so long. Like, it is hard to break. It is hard to change one person, let alone a whole group of people, when something has been set in motion and linked together. And even intellectually, when we can see there might be benefits, there's this period of from getting here to here that is like the uncertain, where the first few steps you step out and you're like, yeah, this is good, I can do this, yeah. And then you start looking at how far you have to go, and then now you're in where it's like, okay, the motivation's gone. You kind of get in tennis, there's a place on the court we call no man's land. Like, you're in no man's land, and you're like, okay, I'm not getting anything good. I'm not getting all the good stuff that I think might be waiting for me over there. And even though that's kind of bad for me over there, I know how to do this. In psychology and coaching, we call this, and it's the concept that the human being, and I've talked about this before, always has a positive intent. Everything we do has a positive intent, even if we don't intellectually understand it. Humans are designed to always be winning at whatever game they're playing. So even if you're playing kind of a negative game of, when I'm sad or when I've had a bad day at work, I need to go and have the drink to take the edge off, or the comforting meal, or doing whatever it is, whatever, we all do it. We all do it. I know you have something. And maybe some of us even have a few things, because things don't exist just in vacuums. And we turn to these things, or we even when we're truly are maybe victims in a situation. You see this happen even in the most extreme cases, sometimes, of spouses being abused, children being abused, being kidnapped, getting attached to the kidnapper. You're like, from us looking on outside in, we're like, what is happening? Like, this is what God is saying in the Bible. He's like, or Isaiah, through Isaiah, he's like, you see it, you recognize it, and you won't act. You hear the words coming out of my mouth, but you're not listening. You have ears, but you're deaf. Like, you have eyes, but you're blind. This is what is happening. We're not really blind. There's just something else going on that for some reason, and it's usually because it's, even when we are being hurt in the process of something, we know how to do that. We know how to survive that cycle of existence. We may not be happy, it may not be good, but we know how to do it. We're winning at it. We know how to be the abused person. We know how to be the person who disappoints themselves and wakes up. We know how to go through a day with a hangover from either too much food or alcohol. We know how to do these things. We've set up we're like, okay, I know how to do this. I know it sounds crazy, but we're always winning at the game we're playing. And then when we decide to go and play a new game, and we've got to learn the new rules, and we've got to learn how to be a winner over there, that takes a lot of practice and a lot of failing and a lot of like, I don't know how to do this, so I'm going to go back over here where I know how to do that, where I'm a winner. Like, I know it sounds crazy. So that's why it's really not self-sabotage, and why it takes so much focus so much intention. It's not like you can casually decide to change, kind of slide, and put like a whole, what I see a lot of people do is put a whole bunch of things in place. Like, I'm going to put a new morning routine in place. I'm going to lose 10 pounds, lose the weight. I'm going to quit the drinking. I'm going to do all the things all at once in 30 days. And then they're so excited, they're on fire, they do it well for a week, and then, or maybe they even do it well for a month. And then they get past that month and they're like, whoa, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. Decision fatigue. They're not winning. They're in no man's land. They haven't really done it enough where it really is part of their identity and they feel like a winner over there. They still really remember what to do over here. So change is hard. It takes a long time. I read a quote this morning that said, the biggest battle, if somebody can win the battle against themselves, like, I want that person on my team, because that's the hardest battle to win. And we've got a whole industry that is there around it, thousands, probably millions of books written on the subject. People that this is all they do is go around and encourage and talk about people's, like, stick with it. You can do it. Trust me, it will happen. You'll get to the place where you're going to feel like a winner in this new thing that you, not only that you want, but it's good for you. Stick with it. Stick with it. Because there's this part here, like, you're here and you know how to do this thing. And then there's this like down here where it's like at the bottom of a pit where it's like, I don't like this. I feel like a complete loser. Like, I don't feel like I've got that yet, and that it's even possible. And I don't feel like I've got that. And that's why those of us that maybe have done that before, we try to make a bridge for the rest of you. And we're like, okay, we take the time and we really go back and like go, okay, how did I have success when other people didn't? What did I do? And then we tell you, we're bridge builders, and we tell you, okay, here's the things that really worked, and the order and the steps in which I did it. And then we can make it easier for other people, and we can encourage, because that's the other thing that also does make it easier, is having some encouragement. So being in a group, trying to make these changes on your own, and when you're in a society that is not like encouraging these changes, and even if they are encouraging it, but they're just not in it with you, like, you need people in it with you, because that's where, when we're in no man's land and it feels like we can't see that, and now we've already made the decision to not be there, that's why our brain, before we get too far from there, our brain wants to go back. It's like, I don't know, is it really worth it? Was it really that bad? Do we really want this? With all of this, it's so hard. Like, all of that happens because we're winners. We actually are winners at the end of the day. We're not trying to self-sabotage. It's quite the opposite. We're trying to keep being winners. There's a survival instinct in there of comfort, security, knowing how to do something, even have all the parts of your life working, even though it's not what you want or what's best for you. And God created us this way, but He knows also that it's possible to not be that way, and that when you believe in Him and stay tied to Him, it's a whole lot easier. You're not out here in no man's land by yourself, and neither are as a group, as a people, when you wake up and you decide to act in accordance to His full design. But because He gave us free will and all this chemical stuff that's happening, that is a conscious choice that we have to make daily. That's why it's often compared to, eating. Like, you have to, just like you eat or drink, you need that daily sustenance. You need to be going back to your Creator, to be reminded, to get strength, to get encouragement. And then even as a group, we need to be collectively doing this so that we're all kind of on the same way together, because we're like minions, like feeding off of each other. Oh, and we get easily distracted, all the things. So anyway, that's my message for today about self-sabotage and what really is going on, and respecting the power of your brain and your desire to win, And knowing this about yourself, you've got to be really intentional that even when you're in that sort of no man's land and knowing that it's coming, to keep telling yourself that you're a winner. Look how far you've come. You're great. Good job. You can do it. And find other people that are there with you. And so you can all collectively encourage each other and go, isn't this great? Oh my gosh. Yes, let's keep going. But it takes a lot of intention and you can't just think and be different. You have to set up all the conditions for how the human is designed. And of course, including the designer in that process is pretty wise. All right. Have a great day. Bye.